Right? Those. Today is a second series of NWKA Kihon. This class is about 35 to 40 minutes. It's designed to be a participation class. Of course, you're welcome to watch only, but if you warm up really well first, and then join us, and then we will do about 35 to 40 minutes, then you can do a cool down that to make a whole hour class. A couple of topics today we're going to work on. We're going to work on technique continuity, whipping action, using very basic technique, not complicated for anybody to do. And then we're going to end up with a really nice, strong cardio segment, maybe 8 to 10 minutes, that is very demanding. And those who are very fit, they are welcome to do it once or twice or 3 times, or do just that part alone because it's a good cardio workout. Right? Yes. So we start with the just natural stance. Ready position, just kicking maigere, rodan, chudan slowly. Maigere, rodan, chudan slowly. So we can just get the legs warmed up, the arms warmed up, feeling the position, and that's our start. Right? Right? Left hand forward. Starting with the left leg, kicking maigere, then jodan, chudan, very slowly. Each. Ni, san, chi. Before we continue, say it please. Watch out for 2 things when you're doing this. When you're kicking, make sure this elbow does not slump out. It stays in. It's actually the opposite, like pulling back. So when you kick, it's pulling back. Kicking, punch, punch. Also watch out not to hunch your back. Hunch your back with the kick. Extend your back. Extend. Extension, punch, punch, punch. Extension, punch, punch, punch. Right? Let's continue. Ich. Ni. Stay slowly, slowly. San. Chi. Go. Rock. Six. Touch. Go. Two. Up. Iron. Iron. Next step, we will take Hibadachi position. Nice Hibadachi, outside edge of the foot must be straight. You should never point out. Hip forward. A good way to do that is to stand completely straight here with the feet aligned properly and do not go backwards. Just bend your knees towards your big toes. Knees towards the toes, then push out. Then your back is very flat. Very nice flat. From this position here, now, the key point here is to pay attention to feeling the ground. Instead of punching with the shoulder, feel that the ground is creating the pulse, the initial pulse. Initial pulse. Initial pulse. I'm bouncing on purpose. I don't want you to bounce, but I'm trying to show you how the ground is created. So eventually you can feeling the ground. That's the key point. Right? From Hibadachi, nice Hibadachi, outside edge of the foot straight, hip forward, arms up here. Imagine there's a rubber band on your elbow connecting to your hip, and you're trying to stretch that rubber band, but as you get to the end, it pulls you back really fast. Medium speed, medium. Each. In. San. Chi. Go. Rock, sit, touch, go, jill. Stay here please, but relax a little bit. Again, very important point is don't let your shoulder lead. You are in Kibadachi. You are not in Kamae or Zankyuchudachi. In Kibadachi, just right here. Extend, rubber band pull. Extend, rubber band pull. That's the idea. Right? Then more power. Ich, ni, san, chi, go, six, hut, go, jump, okay? Okay? The next exercise helps build the muscle in the leg, but it also works against the problem that a lot of people have. A lot of people in Zenko Chudachi, when they do migrate, they open the foot out. The foot must stay straight, but a lot of people are open because the hip open. So a way to stop them from doing that is to try to do migrate from Kibadachi. Your Kibadachi, your foot is straight. If you open it out and you do migrate, you will fall out or forward. If you do it correctly, straight position, relax, then migrate. The foot is completely straight. This is to brace this leg, build it up, and also not let it turn out. Every time it turns out, you get a loose balance. Let's try. Kibadachi, nice relaxed arm position, very loose and relaxed like Kunde, and then starting with one leg only, the right leg slowly. Each. Knee. Pay attention to the left leg that is not opening out. Some. Chi. Go. Go. Six. Hut. Go. Jill. Relax a little bit, just stay in place. Again, the key point here, don't pull your hip behind you to kick. Let your hip fly into the kick. Fly into it. Fly the hip into the kick. Keep the other leg braced down. Okay? Opposite leg. From Kibadachi. Left leg. Each. Knee. Some. Chi. Go. Go. Six. Hut. Go. Jill. So, one point also that is really important, when we do technique, and it's new to us, we don't get it right away. We might get 20 techniques, and 3 of them feel completely correct. The key is for your brain to remember those 3, and make them 4 the next time, 5 the next time, 7 the next time, where eventually you're doing 20 techniques, and 3 of them feel wrong, and you catch those 3. But you know the other 17 were correct. So it's a learning process. Every new area a sensei puts you is going to feel uncomfortable. It might be all 20 techniques are valid. It doesn't matter. Okay? So the next concept we're going to work on now is whipping action. Whipping action means, here's my platform, which is my hip. My legs are below. My body is up. This part moves ahead of me just a little bit. Just a little bit creates a whip. Just a little bit creates a whip. So we're going to be in Zenko Chudachi position, and then we're going to move back. But I want you to think, the first point that's moving is not your nose, it's not your forehead, it's not your chest. The first point that's moving is right below your fist. Right below your fist. Right here. Then you go back. First point moving right below your fist. Right here. It's moving because you are pushing the other leg. The supporting leg is pushing, so this point is moving, and then, in essence, it's giving you a feeling of sitting in a car, somebody pushed the accelerator, you get pulled back a little bit, and then you catch up. Pull back a little bit, and then you catch up. Let's try. Right? Medium speed. Step back into place, and step forward, shoulder down. Each. Step back. Knee. Don't let your forehead heat. Don't let your nose heat. Let always the mechanics, the foundation of the lower body and the legs be the driving engine. Some. Chi. Go. Go. Six. Hut. Go. Jill. With more energy. Eat. Knee. Some. Chi. Go. Rock. Sit. Hut. Go. Jill. So if you pay attention here, and especially what you're hearing, you are hearing The brain is processing two thoughts, two techniques. This is very good for orange belt, green belt, all the way to brown belt. But once we get to brown belt and up, that is not acceptable. So what needs to happen now is a continuous movement. Continuous movement. What does that mean? Continuous movement means when this leg comes back, and when it starts planting, it creates a movement. It doesn't go back, and then the movement happens. The leg comes back, right now it's going to compress, and right at the compression point. So stepping, and punching. But you still have to allow the lower body to lead a little bit, so the upper body will whip into the technique. Let's try. Whole lower body, the stepping of the foot is the start of the technique. Now, right? As soon as the foot lands, the other foot starts moving. Each. Hey. Some. Cheek. Go. Rush. Six. Hush. Same thing now applies to the kick. So when I'm here now, I step back, now nothing, now kick, it's starting from static. I'm back, kick, static. The stepping foot, when it touches the ground, that's the start of the kick. Again, coming back, hit, that's the kick. So from here, stepping, kicking at the same time. Right? Medium speed first, but try to plant your foot and immediately let your knee initiate. Immediately. Even in slow motion. Each. Immediately initiate. Knee. Some. Cheek. Go. No. Six. Hush. Go. Little more speed. Eight. Knee. Snap back more. Some. Cheek. Go. Yeah. Many of us know in competition, in many cases, you escaped an attack and immediately kicked. You escaped an attack and immediately punched. It's a very effective technique. It works really well in competition. I know it works really well in street fights. As soon as you get out of the range of your opponent, you're already executing an attack. Very unexpected. Now is the combination of the two. So now, you're stepping back, when the foot plants, the knee goes. And when the knee goes, when it snaps, the punch goes. So each technique is creating the next technique. Right? Okay, number right. Medium speed stepping back, then maigiri, snap back, then tsuki. Each. Knee. Some. Lower body should thrust a little more. Cheek. Snap should be complete. Go. No. Sit. Out. Come. Jill. And put some power. Up. Knee. Some. Cheek. Take your elbow. Go. Immediately kick. Go. Cheek. Up. Good. So one technique causes the other. Many people, especially people who compete a lot, they can tell that Izami follows the Gyakuzuki makes the Mawashiri brings the Uraken maybe follows an Ashibara. So the body must feel natural and continuity. It's like a circle. One technique makes the other, the next technique makes the other, and then instead of being three techniques, they start being in the timing of 1.5 technique, 1.25 technique. If you look at very high level competition, you'll see 3 or 4 techniques thrown in a timing that should be 1.5 technique. And that is where the superiority comes from training on continuity. That's very important. So we're gonna do the same thing now with Yakuzuki. So from Yakuzuki, you're coming back, like we talked last time, your pulling hand is trying to go behind you, planting your foot in, planting your foot in. When the foot plants, it creates the punch. The pulling hand goes behind you slightly, 30, 40 degrees, planting your foot in. When the foot plants, it drives the other foot in, and then there comes the punch. First, we do it like Q test, Q level. 1, 2, 1, 2. Right? From Yakuzuki position, now Yakuzuki. Again, when you come back, just imagine your elbow is trying to come towards me. Not in completely behind you, slightly angled, coming towards me. That plants your left leg, which drives your right leg into the punch. Right? Each. Knee. Absolutely no using the shoulder to do the rotation. Using the lower body. The hip makes the shoulder turn. Not the shoulder makes the hip turn. Thumb. Ji. Hook. Look. Sit. Hatch. Go. Jump. Eat. Eat. Thumb. Sit. Go. Look. Sit. Hatch. Good. Jump. Yay. Aye. So again, we heard here, that's good, again, for Q rank. Q rank will think of this as 2 techniques. More advanced people must try to make that happen immediately, the planting. And your lower body is creating the whipping action. So when you're going back, then your lower body is whipping the technique. Your whole body is leading you, and that little lead is creating a very strong snap as your back leg driving into the target. So let's do 10 times now, feeling like it's one technique. Right? Good. Number 8. When the foot plants, it pushes. When it pushes, the punch follows. Pitch. Knee. Thumb. Three. Go. Go. Six. Hutch. Come. Jump. Yeah. Amen. So, those who were with us on the last class know that I have a torn ACL. Unfortunately, it's a pretty bad injury. So my kicking is really substandard. If I demonstrate kicking, it's going to be very, very carefully because I might just drop down. But the same concept now is going to apply to the kicking, which means the back leg comes here, the planting of the leg like we did with the Yakuzuki, that planting creating rotation, that rotation drives the Mawashigiri. Coming back, planting, that action that the hand was doing by turning the body, that turn creates the Mawashigiri. The key is the foot immediately creates the kick. The foot immediately creates the kick. That's the idea. Only Mawashigiri, no punch. Jump it up high, relax, slowly. Again, don't step square. Don't come back square. Make sure as you step, your foot is planting with your body. The turning of your body is actually the turn of the Mawashigiri. They are actually the same technique. The turn is the continuous of the Mawashigiri. Right? Ease. Knee. Thumb. Chi. Go. Go. Six. Hutch. up some speed. Now one technique is not tools. Pa, pa, same technique. Knee, back and in. Knee, foot and go. Top. Cheek, land and go. Up, let that hip rotate. Cheek. Up, extend the kick, extend it. Good. Jump, yeah. Up. Amen. Amen. So next would be the two together, which means, let me see, looks like I can try to kick a little bit with. So, which means I'm coming back, back, back. My elbow is turning my body. My body is cocking now. The cocking of the body is the start of the kick. So, coming down, the cocking of the body is the start of the kick. Again, planting the foot, same time the kick, same time the punch. Each technique makes the next technique happen. Right? Pay attention very much to how your fist is bringing your hip behind you, but the rotation of the hip is actually the start of the kick. Not the kick is after the rotation, it's part of the rotation. Speed, the kick is a part of the rotation. Knee, it is part of it, yes. Thumb, nice extension of the kick. Cheek. Go. Go. Six. Punch. Go. Two. Okay, now try to plant your foot and kick at the same time, and then as soon as you snap, punch at the same time. Right, kick and punch. Knee. Thumb. Cheek. Tuck your elbow, tuck your elbow. Up, come on. Good. Jump, yay. Hey. Hey. So again, part of the technique of feeling the lower body push, then the upper body whip, is a very simple from Kamae position. You're in Kamae position, and then most people usually lead right here. I want you to lead right here. Here. That's the leading point. Somebody has a broomstick behind and they're pushing. So you're right here, your lower body, then comes back. Lower body, then comes back. Lower body, then comes back. You can easily after that try to cock the hip and then kick punch, then come back. Kick punch, then come back. Very steady, very straight, very relaxed. Exhale, inhale. Exhale, inhale at the same time. Let's try. From my position. Come on. Yeah, okay. And then we'll start slowly, feeling the lower body push, the conscious state, each. And then come back. Nice sanji, nice sanji. In, go. Go. Up. Go. 6. Out. Go. 2. Now let's try in one count. Lower body pushing. Go and come back. 8. Go and back. 8. Stop. 3. Go. Go. 6. Up. Up. Down. Yeah. Yummy. Like that. Of course, in competition, we don't hold. But the hold is to feel which muscles are clicked. So for example, if you come here and hold, and your right buttock is not tight, it means your hip is open. If your hip is open, you're really never finished. This is soft, this is unfinished. So it's important to feel the hold, and then just like when you hit the makiwara, and you press it. You press the makiwara with your leg, not with your hand. And then bounces you back. Press, bounces you back. Press, bounces you back. That's the idea. Is driving and holding. Of course, in competition, it's a bam is one technique, but we're not practicing that today. Hey, opposite side. Right leg forward, come on. And again, slowly. Knee, push, hold, back. Knee, push, hold, back. Imagine that I have a hook, and I hook it to the front of his belt. And then I pull him from there, but then his upper body squares towards me and catches me. And then the weight comes with that. Up, back, G, back. With more power, one technique. Eight, knee, up, G, up, six, up, go, everything we're doing here is very basic, but it's still kind of advanced. The more you understand your body, the more advanced the technique becomes. I'm 66, he's 52. He started karate at 38. And if he can do this, anybody, any of you can do it. If I can do it with a busted leg and a busted back and beat up body, then you can do it. So the idea is, try to feel your body and let it accomplish the technique. Feel the body, accomplish the technique. We will do now the same technique from Kihon, feeling the kicking, punching, hold, come back. Kicking, punching, hold, come back. Try to feel like you're smacking, hitting into the target. Kicking, punching, hitting the target. Then come back. Right? 51. 51, sorry, correction. 51, not 52. Right? I was trying to make you look older so they would know why. Listen, come on, position. Right, so Kizami, Marigere, then Jakuzuki hold, then come back. 3 times medium speed. Each. Kick snap, punch, come back. Knee, snap, punch, come back. Down. There's more power. See? Switch your legs. Again, slowly, 3 times slowly. E, Izami, Yaku, ba. Ni, Izami, Yaku, ba. Up. Little more continuous, little more power. T. Since Faridi is resting, I'll explain a point that somebody asked me about the other day, and I think it's important. And then we're going to do a cardio segment, which is going to be very brutal. It's going to require that you are really fit and also know how to relax and breathe correctly. The point that I want to discuss is this. A lot of people were talking about shoke action. A lot of times I see the elbow over the other elbow. The minute your elbow is above, this muscle is disconnected. It's like cut. So it's very important to think of 2 things. If this is an arrow and you're pulling back, and this is the string, you're trying to really get the bow really extended, so it can create a whip. Also, you're having pectoral muscle being compressed, which can give. The more you rise, the less action here. The more you come in. So the key is to try to come in right at this point. Compression, elongation. And if the hand is relaxed, then it just whips out. In, whips out. In, whips out. So the comeback is push, go. Push, go. That's your blocking hand. Blocking, strike. You make an exercise from it. Keep your kutsudachi, just step back, step in, step back, step in. But that's the static part. The dynamic is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice action. From that comes techniques like come from that action. Okay? So now we're going to go to try to do Continuous technique, not complicated, but gets you really into a cardio shape. Right? Right? I get down. Right? Medium speed, step back, then step forward. Each. Back, forward. Sam. Cheek. Go. Rocks. Z. Hash. Go. Jump. Medium speed, step forward, then step back. Jump. Each. Forward. Jump. Knee. Sam. Cheek. Go. Rock. Six. Hash. Go. Jump. Now, stepping back and forward, but really fast with my count. Ready? Forward. Knee. Sam. Cheek. Go. Rock. Six. Hash. Now step forward and then backwards, Chucky, very fast. Forward, back. Knee. Faster, faster. Cheek. Come on. Go. Run. Six. Up. Go. Jump. Yeah. Ready. So, to the side, take 5 deep breaths during that time. Things to watch out for. When you step forward, don't let your elbow come out. You're stepping forward, tuck your elbow. Let your chest open. Tuck your elbow. Tuck that elbow. I'm making it show, but you shouldn't make it show. I'm just making you feel. I feel it, I go. Feel it, I go. That makes my toe planted on the ground. Is working with my pulling hand to push me back. Working with my hand to push me back. The next one now we'll do stepping back, migrate, stepping forward 10 times, then stepping forward, migrate, stepping back 10 times. Medium speed, then 10 times fast. Right? From right. Relax your arms. Medium speed, stepping back, kicking migrate very slowly. E. Ni. Sa. G. Go. Run. See. Heart. Go. Don't lose your spine. Keep your spine very straight. Now stepping forward, kick, and then step back. Each step, kick back. Knee. The step is the kick. Sound. Very slowly, very slowly. Chi. The stepping is the kicking. Go. One leg activates the other. Rub. Z's. Heart. Go. Jill. Okay, now we're going to go fast. Stepping back and kicking my leg 10 times, really fast. Get down in your stance. I know you're tired. Try to breathe naturally. Don't tighten up. Knee. Top. G. Go. Rub. G. Ah. Good. Jump. Yay. Now stepping forward, kick and step back. Reach. Step forward, kick back. Knee. Come on. Top. G. Come on, come on, come on. Go. Yeah, action. Rub. G. Good. Jump. Yay. Amazing. So the last part, we'll make it a little shorter because I don't want my sensei help to die on me, but it's going to be the combination of the two, which means I'm stepping back, kicking, and punching, stepping back, kicking, and punching, stepping forward, kicking, and punching, stepping forward, kicking, and punching. Spine is very straight, hip is releasing with the kick, nice snap back. One leg makes the other leg work. One leg makes the other leg work. Continuity is very important. Deep breath. We're finishing up with this. Deep breath. One more. Deep breath. And then from Penambarai, left hand forward. We'll do 4 medium speed, not left hand. 4, stepping back, kicking and punching slowly. 8. Ni. San. Ji. Now 4, stepping forward, kicking and then punching. 8. Ni. Slowly, slowly. San. Ji. Now 4 times really fast, stepping back, kicking, punching. Hey! Back kick, punch. Knee. Back kick, punch. Some. Come on. Three. Now forward. Knee. Step forward, kick, punch. Knee. Tuck your elbows, tuck them. Some. Come on. Three. And 20 push-ups. Go. And go into plank, plank position, plank on the ground. And deep breath, deep breath, deep breath. Your body may be tight, but you're relaxing. Try to feel like you're relaxing. Try to keep this point slightly down. Don't let it sag down and put pressure on your lower body. Deep breath from your nose, exhale from your nose, exhale from your nose. And relax, yeah. And like close. Okay, so this is our second Kihon lesson. You can go back to our YouTube channel, NWKA Corona, and see the first one. If you participate, please make sure you warm up. And when you finish by now, make sure you have a good 7 or 8 minute cool down. Boss, thank you very much.